think we are ready to rock and roll. Again, mind the voice team, a little bit going on here, but we're powering through anyway. All right, let's get stuck into this. In another episode of the Better Body Academy podcast, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Today, I want to talk to you about a topic that has massively shaped my life. And it's a concept that is extremely simple. So simple that you're probably going to hear it and just gloss over it. I really ask that you stop and listen or try to take in what I'm going to tell you today, because when you really understand this, it completely changes the way that you go about self-improvement. Whether you're trying to lose fat, whether you're trying to get muscly, whether you're trying to run a marathon, whether you're trying to build a business, whether you try to get into good relationships, all of those things are changed by this idea that success leaves clues. If someone has the life, the body, the discipline, the success, the mindset, maybe the energy that you want, that doesn't happen randomly. I do believe that some people they're born with gifts for sure, but I think people overhype that component of it. If you want success in your life, in whatever capacity it is, it comes down to the behaviors and the patterns that you exhibit. It comes from those repeated habits that are done over and over and over again. And the crazy thing to me is that these behaviors are very often not hidden from plain sight. The behaviors of successful people, the people that you want to be like, they're visible, they're observable, which means they're copyable. This is really important. Most people spend their time trying to reinvent the wheel instead of simply studying the people who already have the results you want. When you step back and think about that, isn't that crazy? Would all of you like to have more money? Yes. I don't think anyone wants less money. Okay, cool. There is a blueprint for this, right? Why are we not trying to spend more time understanding how the people that have it have got it, as opposed to fighting so hard to try to do stuff that we don't know how to do and is not according to some sort of a plan? And fitness is exactly the same way. There is a blueprint to getting the body that you want. And today I want to kind of unpack this principle for you and properly so that it can maybe fast track your progress in every area of your life. You know, one of the strongest things that humans do when they're stuck is just try to work harder or try to make excuses. Instead of they're ignoring what is clearly available to them. Think about it. If you wanted to build a house, you wouldn't just grab some wood one day and just start banging in nails to a block of wood. You would use a plan. If you wanted to bake a cake, you would use a recipe. You wouldn't just randomly throw ingredients together. You would follow a recipe. And when it comes to fitness, health, discipline, success, people do exactly that. They just throw random ingredients together and wonder why. They get so frustrated. They guess. They try random strategies, random workouts. They follow trends that kind of grab their attention. They bounce between different ideas. They look for hacks. Meanwhile, there are millions of people around them, which is the magic of Better Body Academy. There are tons of people like Terry who are already doing what you want. Leaner bodies, more discipline, better routines, better energy, better health. And instead of studying those people, we just ignore them. They think that there must be some secret source. We say things to ourselves like, oh yeah, but I'm not like them. We victimize ourselves, right? Would you agree? It's my genetics. My mum didn't teach me that stuff. But the truth is much simpler. There are clues in people's daily behavior, and the clues are everywhere. When you start paying attention, you realize something. Successful people tend to be successful in many areas, and they operate in very similar ways. Not identical, but similar. They move their bodies. They prioritize sleep. They eat real food. They lift weights. They read. They invest their time in learning instead of TV. They watch YouTube documentaries about the things that they're interested in, not Netflix documentaries about the things that are entertaining. They surround themselves with people who challenge them. They don't completely destruct every weekend. Now, none of these behaviors are revolutionary. None of them are magical. But when you stack them together over time, this creates a completely different life. And I urge you to understand this so much and implement this, because when I did this in my own life, everything changed. For so long, I was trying to just fight to do what I thought needed to be done, reinventing the wheel. The moment that COVID kicked my fucking ass and got me sacked out of a job I was in 12 years, and I had no ability to work anywhere else, I had to go, fuck, I've got to copy what works. And when I started looking, the clues were obvious. What we need to do is become a student of people. This is one of the biggest life shifts that you can actually make, is deciding to become a student, not just a consumer of information and do nothing, not just knowledge, but of people, of behaviors. If someone has the result you want, just take a moment now to pause. Who is someone that has the result you want? Either a body that you like, a life that you envy based on their travel, a happiness that you see in their eyes, a determination or ambition. Watch them. Pay attention to how they operate. Ask yourselves questions like, what time does this person wake up? How do they structure their day? How do they train? How do they eat? What do they prioritize? What do they avoid? What things do they talk about? What books do they read? If I was to answer those questions to you myself, if any part of you admires even slightly what I do, how do they train? I train a certain way. I train 3 to 4 days a week, full body training only. How do I eat? 95%, it's just whole foods, normal foods, simple foods. What do I prioritize? I prioritize myself first and foremost, because I can't be the dad that I want to be, the boss, the partner, the coach, if I don't get my own fucking shit right first. What do I avoid? Reading the news, watching TV, I just don't do it. And these are some examples that you can see. And I'm always saying to my coaches, guys, the success leaves clues. Why are you trying to reinvent this? Everyone sees the way that Carly blew up on social media. She did, but that's not why she became a good coach. She became a good coach because she was willing to put her ego completely to the side and just do what works. She just copied what she'd already seen working. Again, this is why Better Body Academy works. Because for a long time, you've struggled to do whatever it was for you, weight, lose weight, gain weight, whatever it is. Then you come into a community where you can now see what's working for people. You copy that and you get the same results. When you start to stack these things over time, change happens quite quickly. One of the things that I think we need to stop obsessing about so much is outcomes. Think about it. We get really emotional about results, like how much money we've got, how much weight we lost this week. We get really emotional about those things, but you can't change those things. directly. Those things are a product. They're an outcome. We focus on our time so much on, I want the body without the training. I want to feel energetic without the sleep. I want to be this like disciplined, motivated person, but I don't have a routine. We're obsessed with the outcomes when the key decision that you've got to make in your life is, I'm going to be a student and I'm going to get obsessed with the actions that successful people are taking. Here's what happens when you become obsessed with the actions. You start to enjoy the process. Has any one of you that's listening here moved from, I hate this, to I love this around your gym sessions, around eating food? We enjoy the process. We enjoy the structure. We enjoy the discipline. We become legitimately confused when someone says to us, why are you going to bed so early? It's like, because I've got to get up early. Or why are you just not getting takeout? Well, because it's 1,000 calories and I don't want to eat 1,000 calories right now. We become addicted to doing the things that move the needle forward, and the result becomes a side effect. The result happens, the outcome happens, the weight loss, the more money, the life that you see, and you go, fuck, that's happening as a consequence of becoming obsessed about the actions themselves. And this is where most people get stuck. I want to give you an example from my life. A guy named Don. When I first started in business, I found a guy that was doing exactly what I wanted. I was in a mastermind with him. He was 10 years younger than me, but he was doing incredibly cool things. And he seemed to do it just with a very cool head. He operated at a level that really made you pay attention to his standards. The way he worked, the way he showed up, the way he pushed, the way he trained, not just business. I was looking at his behaviors beforehand. There was a standard there. And when you're around someone like that, you have two choices. You can either complain and make excuses and say they're made of something different, or you can decide to match it, to try to copy it and try to emulate it. I chose to match it, not perfectly, not immediately, but by watching him, observing him, adopting the behaviors and the approach that he had towards things, understanding, for example, how did he run that challenge? How did he create that piece of content? What does he wear? How often does he train? When does he train? How does he speak to his people? How does he run meetings? This is the power of proximity to people who operate at a higher level. You begin to see the blueprint. And if your parents didn't give you this guidance, this is where you need to take it into your own hands. It's also the reason where I'm very hesitant around the idea now that I'm an adult of tertiary education. Why would I pay $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year for my son or daughter to do a business degree underneath a lecturer that's never run a fucking business? Why would I teach my daughter, my son, or pay for them 40 grand a year to go to a university to learn finance from a person that's not loaded? Wouldn't I be better to pay an entrepreneur, which is the concept, by the way, of doing a tradesmanship, doing an apprenticeship, is like, let's give a person who already knows what they're doing a chance to teach it. And you can go full tweaker mode on this learning. If someone has the life you want, study them properly. I mean, properly. Look at everything. Look at how they structure their day when they wake up in the morning, how consistent they are, how they handle stress, how they train, eat, recover when they go to bed, what they say no to, how they protect their time, how they spend their time. Because when you zoom out, something interesting happens. you realize that the result you're admiring isn't coming from one thing, and it's not magic. It's coming from dozens of behaviors that are stacked together, not a magic hack. You're essentially building the blueprint so you can emulate it yourself, one thing at a time. The goal isn't to become someone else. The goal isn't it's to extract the behaviors that are actually working. You observe them, you learn, you adapt the pieces that make sense for your life, and you start stacking these things into your life. And when you allow enough time to pass, something incredible happens, and it's called compounding. If you know this word, you know exactly what I mean. You let time do its thing. And there's something called the timeline trap. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They copy the behaviors, but only briefly. They try them for a few weeks, maybe a month, and they look in the mirror and go, this isn't working. But the people that you're trying to emulate have been living this way for years. I started training when I was 10 years old. I did my degree when I was 20 years old, and now I'm 43. So if a coach who's wanting to build something like BBA comes and says, well, I just qualified as a personal trainer last week, how do I get what you've got? It's like, dude, I've been doing this for fucking 23 years. Years of training, years of discipline. The timeline is a little bit longer than what people want. So they say, it mustn't work. But if you are able to apply yourself, guess what happens? It comes actually a lot quicker than you think. So my real question today, and what I want to leave you as my voice starts to break down, is why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Like when you think about it, all the hardship and kind of excuses and victimhoods that we come up with, wouldn't you just copy what works? If someone has the body, study them. Go full tweaker mode on them. If someone has the discipline you want, what are they doing? How are they doing it? If someone has the energy you want, copy it. Because success leaves clues, and these clues are available to anyone that wants to pay attention. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast. I do apologize for my voice quality in this episode, but it is what it is. Hope you got some value out of this, guys, and I'll stick around to answer questions. Peace. Sorry, guys. Not feeling amazing this morning, but it is what it is. Good morning, Grant. How are you? And Chriso's in the house. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. I think like the biggest thing to take out of this podcast is that the success is like already there. It's already there. If you want it, just copy it. I've got Nico saying business degree is useless, to be honest. Why would you learn from someone that's not capable? I mean, this is the thing, Nico. Like, I really do think that, you know, there's some part of us that wants tertiary degrees. Like we think that, I think the biggest thing that comes with getting a degree is saying, I'm disciplined enough to do something for 3 to 4 years. I think that is the magic. That's the magic. But the reality is, it's not the learning that comes in the degree. It's the discipline that comes with finishing something, starting and finishing something. I agree, my brother. I agree. All right, team. What else have we got here? So Tony said, I've tried to succeed in the past and failed. I never saw results. I'm not good enough to succeed at anything. Okay, Tony. So your issue straight away is your attitude towards this, your story. Now, I don't know your story, but I'm going to guess that you've had a pretty difficult life, right? Maybe you didn't have parents who were able to guide you in the right direction. Maybe you did, and maybe you took a different direction. But a person can make a decision to change now, today. That doesn't mean that they'll be different tomorrow, but the decision to change can be made today. It can be made in an instant. If you keep telling yourself, which by the way is not abnormal, telling yourself you're not good enough, That's a story that you've created, Tony, because you lack any proof to the opposite. If you don't have any proof that you are good enough, rather than trying to fake it, you got to go out and create proof. You got to go out and start low and slow. Commit to something small and do it. Like, get up now and go for a walk. Because you said you'd do it, go and do it. That's how you build confidence. You build confidence out of stacking proof. The more proof you stack, the easier this becomes, because you have a mountain of proof that you're the type of man that says, I'm going to do it, and I actually do it. Does this make sense, brother? Good morning to all the girls that come in a little bit after the introduction. I have, Lynn says, I love that. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Clearly, my voice is packing up. Hopefully, this has been helpful this morning. Guys, if you are watching this episode and you're thinking, man, like, I need to get some more of this mindset shit, this diet talk, this training talk, you can go over and listen to 450 plus episodes of the podcast just by going to Apple, Amazon, Spotify, any of the platforms, and just searching Better Body Academy podcast. All right, team, I'm going to see you in the next episode and through the week. Peace.